So in this video, I'm going to go over how to handle negative people. This is actually a very common question that I come across. I wanted to get into it with this particular video. But first, I want to share with you a little story. I remember when I was in my teens and I was working in a kitchen in a hospital, and I was assigned at the grilling station, serving food to staff and to guests of the hospital, right? And one older man was exceptionally grumpy. He just had this huge scowl on his face, and he was talking very abrasively to me. He was just like, give me this, give me that, and he's just really, really grumpy. I don't know what it was, but maybe it's because I was young and I was innocent or whatever have you. But I remember just observing this older man and listening to his order, expressing his grumpiness, his abrasiveness. And I remember just smiling at him. That's all I did. I just smiled. And almost immediately, I saw his face transform from being this mean, frowning man, and his face completely softened. And his lips turned into a smile. And all of a sudden, this man's energy had changed. And this taught me something at that young age. And I wasn't aware of it at that time, right? In hindsight, I was able to help change that man's energy by being the exact opposite of what he was. But it wasn't as if I was consciously saying to myself, okay, don't be his energy. Smile now so you can transfer your energy into his and he will change. I wasn't aware of what I was doing. I was just naturally doing it, you see? So how does one handle negative people? Well, from the story I shared with you, you may think, well, that's easy, Jen. You simply smile at them and they'll stop being nasty, right? Well, I want to look at this question a little bit. One time when I was networking with a woman whom I had met online, we connected over Zoom. And she had asked me the question because she knows that I'm a mindset and manifestation coach. How do you handle negative people? And for some reason, the question really struck me. I remember answering the question, sharing this next story with you. So I kind of answered the question in a very indirect way, okay? You may have heard me say this before, that the most important question to answer is not how. It's more about the what, the why, and the who. Because we tend to always unconsciously seek security by asking the how a lot. The how leans towards the logical side of our thinking. Like, how do we lose weight? How to make $1 million? How to overcome fear? But really, the how comes naturally if we answer the what first. Like, what does it look like handling a negative person effectively? So if you go into the workshop of your mind, you can imagine a scene where you're experiencing a negative person and then just saying something and having that negative person stop dead in their tracks or at least become less negative, right? And you can just envision that. Don't you think the how will come to you very naturally? And then answering the question, well, who am I that created this reality where I am able to switch the energy of a negative person through my presence, through my words, and through my gestures? Don't you think the how would come to you naturally if you were to focus more on who am I that effectively handles a negative person? You see how we tend to lean towards mechanics first before tuning into energy. So let me share with you this next story. I once had a client who was on a trip with a girlfriend and they were traveling in Italy. Great trip, right? But while she was there, I received a text from her. and my client was so miserable. She goes on to text me that her friend, for some odd reason, would constantly make demeaning comments about her and put her down. I mean, you can imagine being in a foreign country, you're with your travel buddy, right? You don't really know the language very much, and you're learning how to get around and all that, and you don't get along with your travel buddy. I mean, that is compounding stress and difficulty, right? And it could potentially ruin your trip. So in understanding the world from the lens of frequency, energy, and vibration, I told her to do the following. I said to her, the next time that this woman begins to criticize you, I want you to speak to yourself, not outward, inward, within your own mind. And I want you to say things like, I am so beautiful. I am so successful. I am so accomplished. I am so lovable. I love myself. These were all positive affirmations for the self. Notice how I didn't say, next time she starts putting you down, you tell her off or you set her straight. I didn't say that. It was nothing like that. Why? I told her to say self-affirming statements to herself as this woman would criticize her, so that my client's energy was no longer compatible with this woman's negative perception of my client. You know what happened? My client texts me soon afterwards and says, it worked. Her travel buddy just started leaving her alone. Why? Because their energy was no longer compatible. The frequencies were disharmonious. You know how when you play notes on a piano, there are certain notes that go together and create harmony, and then there are other notes that when played together sound horrible with each other. Not one note is better than the other. They just are what they are. Some notes work great with other notes, and other notes don't work well with another type of note. You understand what I'm saying with this? So let me end this video by saying this. If a negative person in your life really bothers you, you may want to ask, why does this person really bother me? Because if this negative person triggers you in some way, this negative person is teaching you something. And what is the lesson, right? Have you heard of this saying, no man or woman is your enemy. No man or woman is your friend. But every man or woman is your teacher. Otherwise, you can experience any negativity from another person and simply smile or affirm the opposite of the frequency within yourself, and the situation will take care of itself. You see? If you're in the spirit of wanting to help this person who obviously is in the habit of thinking negatively, therefore feeling negatively, and therefore acting negatively, then I would recommend you ask that person a question. This is a little bit of a disrupt for this person that will derail their usual train of thought towards a positive direction. Like, hey, so-and-so, what's good in your world? Or what's the greatest lesson you learned so far this week, so-and-so? Or what are you grateful for today? If you want to really get an answer as to how to deal with negative people, I would answer with asking them questions that will help them to think differently. I'm sure the more you answer the what, like what does it look like to handle negative people effectively, the why and the who am I that handles negative people effectively, the more you answer these questions more, the how will come to you as well. So I hope you found this video helpful and that it has added value to you in your life. Please like and subscribe for more content. Remember to share this video with others who you think would benefit to watch this content. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.